is to see some sort of cooperation between the U.S. and Russia. And not only that, they're hated, berated. The devil himself, Donald J. Trump, and Vladimir Putin, the KGB agent, you know, what did they call the murderer of Moscow or whatever they're calling him today?
Yeah.
They hate it.
So Loud and Quiet over on RooTube says he notices you got a new haircut.
I did. I got a haircut last week or the week before. Thank you for noticing, as nobody pays attention. But I did. Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah. So I think there's big hurdles ahead for any of this. Congress might push back. Europe's sounding off. France is calling, Russia's ceasefire talk insincere, which I talked about a few minutes ago. We've got the Suja gas pumping station blown up yesterday, and Ukraine is blaming Russia for destroying their own infrastructure. So I don't know.
Yeah. The West doesn't like it. Period. This is a no-go. And I like to gauge my internal sales, SAIL, sales plural, based on who hates Donald Trump most, or who's hating on Putin today, because that usually tells me which way to kind of pivot, or at least to frame the conversation, because they're usually coming from a point of view that Putin bad, Orange Man bad, that type.
I think the answer to your question right now is the UK. We had Prince William on the border of Russia and Estonia in a tank running his mouth that they were going to defend the Baltics from Russia invading.
I hadn't seen that.
Yeah, okay. We also had King Charles, swearing support for Ukraine. And of course, good old Starmer. Yeah, the Lindsey Graham of the United Kingdom.
I don't know. Can I say this on YouTube?
You can say it. I disavow any knowledge.
Do y'all remember? Do y'all remember Colonel Clink?
And it is not necessarily the view of the channel owner.
No, I know. But y'all remember Colonel Clink, right? From Hogan's Heroes.
Yes.
I see Starmer, and I can see him in Colonel Clink's uniform with the monocle and all, and he's a buffoon, just like Colonel Clink was, and that's I see Starmer in Colonel Clink's uniform. Take that however way you want, and as far as you want, but that's what I see.
Yeah. So then, who is Sergeant Schultz?
Oh, that's Buddies. That's Bojo. That's Buddies Johnson, man.
Bojo. I see nothing. I know nothing.
I see nothing. I know nothing. Yeah, that's him. All right.
It was not my fault. So Erica's got a question on this. She says, "Can you explain how this friendship and good words in the interview are reconciled with the continued severe sanctions?" Got any thoughts on that, Eddie?
Well, you just can't. Well, I guess you can. I guess rip apart sanctions that are in place overnight, but that's exactly what's going to happen. They will be ripped up overnight. But you can't do it because can you imagine what the left would do? What the left would say? How the opposition in America and around the world, actually in the West, would react to that. So I think, Trump has to take these small incremental moves. And I think, that this Witkoff, and I haven't seen the entire interview, I've only seen bits and pieces, but Witkoff was cleared to do this show. You do know that. You do understand. He was cleared by the Trump administration to do this interview. And I'm sure they already had a framework of what they were going to discuss, how they were going to frame it, and what was going to be said. There are no surprises in any of these interviews. And so I think by putting somebody like Witkoff in front of Tucker Carlson to bring these little tidbits of behind the scenes of what's happening between Trump and Putin, these are the little bits and pieces of breadcrumbs that trying to wake people up and to prepare them for what's coming. But that's the sanctions are going to continue. That's going to be the last snap. But this Witkoff interview is part of the awakening, part of the preparation, I should say, to that inevitability. That's my opinion.
Well, he pretty much said that. Part of what I didn't play tonight and what you probably haven't heard is he was very clear. He says, I went to Russia to talk to Putin, but Trump asked me to go. Trump told me what to say because I'm not the president. I work for the president. I have my job because of him. I am simply his messenger.
Yeah. So
I agree. This is setting things up. There has been talks about easing sanctions. It's going to happen. Like Eddie said, Erica, it'll just, it'll be snap, 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 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. But I think right now, the reason that they're still hanging on to sanctions and the reason they're still providing military aid to Ukraine is to have some cards to play against Russia with. Ukraine has no cards at this point. And if Trump took off the sanctions and stopped the military aid, Russia could do whatever they wanted. So I think it's a little bit of control on Trump's part as well.
There is a little bit of leverage in it, but how effective has that leverage actually been over the course of the past 3 years with the SMO in Russia? They've found ways around it. They've circumvented the many of the sanctions and found other workarounds and new cooperation with new partners. But Trump and also Witkoff, in a little piece that I've listened to, they want to create business opportunities. And business is not going to go into a country where there's the fear that, I could lose all my money with just a sanction, where there's high risk. How do you want me to invest when there's a high risk that we could either blow each other up with a nuclear bomb, or that there's war, or there has to be some sort of stability. And this is, I think, this is the big picture that a lot of people are kind of like missing. They're stuck in the little woods down here. Oh, Trump wants to do business with Russia, and he wants to do, Russia's our enemy. Hey, wait a minute. Business builds stability, but business doesn't go in someplace that doesn't already have some stability within it. So I think that's the bigger picture. Long term, they see Russia as a stable place to do business and a stable business partner. That's huge if you think about it. That is really, really huge. Think of all the investment that they want to do in Russia. Vice versa, how much investment from Russian oligarchs into the American market will happen as well. Well, I think it's a win-win.
Well, and I think this is the whole reason for Trump wanting this mineral agreement with Ukraine. Again, it's an investment and it brings some stability. Now, they did talk during the first half of the interview about Gaza and the Palestinians. And Witkoff said that people misunderstood. Trump does not want to build resorts and whatnot in Gaza. He's saying there's tunnels underneath everything, buildings are destroyed. You can't just go in with this, what the Biden administration put forth as a 5-year plan to rebuild everything and let people live in it, because everything will start collapsing. So they're looking at it as a 20 to 25-year thing where they've got to go in, they have to clear everything out, fill in the tunnels, build new foundations, and that could be. However, Witkoff said that he really wished Israel didn't go in after they had a ceasefire. But, so I think that shows that there's very little control over Israel, yet they're still sending them weapons. So.
Yeah, that's going to be interesting to see how that plays out. That's kind of like the topic for tomorrow's live on Sounding On podcast. So if you guys stay tuned for that. We'll just say that. We'll just stay tuned for that.
Yep.
That'll be a good conversation.
I think it will get interesting. So, any more questions, or otherwise we're going up on an hour. My lovely wife will be coming back and I will be shutting things down anyway.
Oh, sure. Blame it on the wife.
Well, that's what I have her for. So we will, if nobody has questions, Eddie, you have any other comments you want to add to anything?
Just a reminder, tomorrow is the last day that we will dual stream on Sounding On Podcast and Moscow Photographer Channel. After that, everything is on, geopolitical wise, over on Sounding On Podcast. So be sure you subscribe. Same thing with American and Crimea over here, and your InfoWars channel.
Yep. Yeah, so this one got a little geopolitical. It was supposed to be Crimea news, but we kind of went off on that a little bit. So thank you everybody for coming. Everybody on YouTube and X and over on RooTube. RooTube's growing over there. Emily, actually I have a law degree and an engineering degree. So I have 2 degrees. And we will end with a picture of the beach in Nikolaev. This is beautiful Crimea. So this is our, I don't know, it's not a human interest, but this is how I decided I'm going to close the news of Crimea on a weekly basis. So get to look at this just about every night. Gotta get Eddie down here to see that. After I come up
in
there
the summer when it's warm.
Buy an apartment.
Yeah.
So everybody, thank you. Eddie, thanks for stopping by.
You're welcome. We'll see you all mañana.
Mañana. Same time. 8 p.m. Moscow time, 2000 hours. And that's, noon Central, right?
Yeah, I think I put mine at 8:10. Just because I know we're going to be late.
Yeah, we'll be late anyway. So figure about 8:15, 8:20.
Don't miss it, folks. We want to see you there tomorrow.
Yep. See you later.
Пока.
Bye.
С чего начинается Родина? С окошек, горящих вдали, со старой отцовской буденовки, что где-то в шкафу мы нашли. А может, она начинается со стука вагонных колес, из клятвы, которую в юности ты ей в своем сердце принес. С чего начинается род?